Baron Helmut Zemo hates Captain America with a passion, mainly in part due to the death of his father at the hands of the Star-Spangled Hero at the end of World War II. If you want more info on all that, check out my breakdown of Baron Zemo I did earlier this week. Helmut had trained in the idea of a master race by his father, and vowed to follow in his footsteps, by any means necessary. In response to the Avengers, Earth's mightiest heroes, Zemo formed the fourth incarnation of the Masters of Evil, a team of supervillains, and attack his adversaries directly in their heart, their home, Avengers Mansion. Today, I'll be looking at and reviewing the storyline Under Siege from the late 1980s. Let's begin. We start our story in Avengers number 273, where the mighty Hercules is relaxing and having a few drinks at Mike's bar, to the joy and applause of the other patrons. A mysterious man sitting next to Hercules rubs him the wrong way though, when he mentions that the Wasp is currently leading the Avengers, and that Hercules must take orders from a woman. Sexist much? This causes Hercules to throw him through the window and onto the street, before realizing his mistake and saving him before he can be killed by oncoming traffic. As Hercules leaves and apologizes, the man gets into the back of a parked van housing Yellow Jacket, and he reveals himself as Wrecker, one of the 4 members of the wrecking crew. Wrecker, Yellow Jacket, and the other members of the Masters of Evil are performing surveillance on various Avengers, sending the information they gather to another villain, Moonstone, at the secret command post of Baron Zemo. Zemo wants to gather as much information he can on his enemies, as well as determine the whereabouts of his most formidable foe, Captain America, before he and his team can strike. Despite pushback being left uninformed by her boss in regards to his true intentions, Moonstone has a project of her own that will give Zemo the power to neutralize the strongest Avenger, Captain Marvel. Moonstone has restrained the villain Blackout, Marcus Daniels, who has been left in a catatonic state. Using her machine, Moonstone can harness his powers known as the Dark Force, which brings a portion of the Dark Force dimension into this one that nothing on Earth can get through. With the Dark Force seemingly under her control, Zemo is worried Moonstone will use it against him. In the workout room, Mr. Hyde and Pile Driver have a skirmish which is unsuccessfully broken up by Moonstone. When Baron Zemo enters the fray and calms down Hyde, almost immediately, Moonstone believes he is hiding even more from her. In actuality, Zemo had planned the entire charade and used a special sedative on Hyde to guarantee that his command goes unthreatened. Later, Zemo is informed that Captain America has been located in southern Florida, and Whirlwind has been dispatched to intercept him. The Baron orders his team to meet him in the briefing room, which consists of some of the deadliest criminals he can get his yellow mitts on: Goliath, Moonstone, Titania, Absorbing Man, the Wrecking Crew, Yellow Jacket, Tiger Shark, Mr. Hyde, Blackout, Fixer, a glorious B-team of B-listers if I ever saw one. Zemo tells his army that they have all been bested by the Avengers in some way over the years, and that despite their immense power, they are now outnumbered and will fall beneath their feet. Once the Avengers are dealt with, the Masters of Evil will move on to the Fantastic Four, and then no one will dare oppose them. When Moonstone questions his leadership, Zemo reveals that Blackout is now under his control, thanks to a device made for him by the Fixer. He vows revenge against Captain America and the Avengers. Nothing can stop him now. With the Avengers currently on other missions or at various social events, one Zemo had strategized and planned for to distract them, Avengers Mansion lies empty, apart from their loyal butler Jarvis, that is. The Masters of Evil use this opening to smash through the outer walls and enter the grounds. Though there are security defenses up, the combined might of the villains easily dispatch them, and they break into the mansion itself. Zemo watches on as the Fixer jams a distress signal sent out by Jarvis. His men capture the good butler and hold him hostage. Zemo and his Masters of Evil have won. They've taken Avengers Mansion. Hours later, Zemo and Fixer watch over the monitors as the first Avenger, Black Knight, has arrived. He and his men have replaced the outer walls, so none of the returning heroes will suspect a thing. They are completely oblivious. Black Knight enters the mansion, but feels something is off, getting his sword ready. Unfortunately, he is ambushed by Yellow Jacket and then Mr. Hyde, who beats him like a sack of potatoes. They retrieve Black Knight's helmet and enchanted sword for Zemo, who tells them their most challenging foes have yet to appear. At her New Orleans apartment, Monica Rambeau, the then Captain Marvel, is contacted by the Wasp to come to the Avengers Mansion quick. When she arrives, she is fired at by Blackout and his Dark Force, which folds in on itself, taking Captain Marvel with it. Zemo had fixed to attach a voice simulator to the mansion's radio transmitter, tricking Captain Marvel into believing it was the Wasp contacting her. With 2 Avengers down and 3 active members to go, it seems that the Masters of Evil will claim this day. Captain America arrives at Janet Van Dyne's New Jersey estate, having dispatched Whirlwind. He tells her that he contacted Avengers Mansion, and the one who picked up the line was none other than her, the Wasp, which means their communications have been hacked in some way, or the mansion is under someone else's control. As the Masters of Evil trash the mansion and steal any valuables they can find, the Wasp has managed to sneak in and realizes what has been going on. She finds Jarvis and the Black Knight, and Jarvis tells her that Helmut Zemo is responsible, the son of the original Baron, and to warn Hercules before he falls into their trap. Problem is, Hercules has been dropped off at the mansion, drugged and drunk, by a lady named Tanya Seeley, aka Black Mamba, who was paid by Zemo. Thankfully, the Wasp and Cap manage to get him into a nearby van and try to explain the situation. Unfortunately, he's in such an angered stupor that he refuses to listen to the Wasp any longer and feels he can take on the entirety of the Masters of Evil himself. Hercules battles Tiger Shark as Zemo watches on, and the Baron is informed that they've been found out by Captain America and Wasp, who are charging for the front door. Fixer activates a couple giant metal claws that detain the heroes. The Wasp manages to escape, but Captain America is captured after being knocked unconscious by high-decibel sonic waves. With the Captain in his clutches, Zemo orders Blackout to cover the mansion with Dark Force energy. Nothing goes in or out. Hercules manages to subdue his attackers, if only for a bit, until Goliath weakens him and the rest of his allies go in for the kill. Zemo has his way with Captain America, telling him the Avengers have been destroyed, but the bloodied hero persists. As long as one of them still lives, the Avengers will never die. Thankfully, Hercules manages to squirm out of one of the mansion's walls, but is in critical condition, being taken to a hospital to treat his wounds. As Wasp waits for him outside, Scott Lang, Ant-Man arrives and is filled in on everything that has happened. Baron Zemo continues to gloat in front of a bound Captain America, and even bitch-slaps Jarvis. Zemo tells Cap that the countless defeats his father suffered at his hands tore their family apart. Because of that, he vowed to destroy Captain America's family, destroy the Avengers. He sends Absorbing Man and Titania to the hospital Hercules is being treated at, with the sole intention of killing all heroes there. Zemo forces the bound captain to watch the events at the hospital unfold. He also rips up a picture of Cap and Bucky found within Captain America's footlocker right in front of his eyes, relishing in the death of his sidekick. Zemo orders Mr. Hyde to destroy his original shield as well, crumpling it up into a little ball, before removing the gag on Jarvis and allowing Hyde to beat him senseless, letting the hero listen to his every scream and moan. The Wasp and Ant-Man are able to incapacitate Absorbing Man and Titania. The victory pumps up Wasp, who is ready to take the fight to the Masters of Evil at Avengers Mansion. Captain Marvel manages to escape the Dark Force dimension due to an opening created by the hero known as the Shroud, who also has the power to manipulate it. Though he is left confused, Captain Marvel has no time to explain and must get back to the mansion. Dr. Druid sees the dark cube that has become the Avengers Mansion on TV, and using his psychic powers, sees that the Black Knight and others are in trouble. He puts on his costume and heads out. Captain Marvel arrives outside Avengers Mansion, along with the mighty Thor, who Wasp was unable to get a hold of earlier. As Mr. Hyde holds up the broken body of Jarvis, and Baron Zemo watches over Yellow Jacket and Fixer as they remove the memory disk canisters from the Avengers Mansion mainframe, so he can learn even more about his foes, the lights go out, and the energy barrier housing Black Knight's sword and Captain America's shield turns off. With his enchanted sword back in his possession, the Black Knight is able to free Captain America, and the two easily put the beat down on Hyde, who was at a disadvantage in the dark. Captain Marvel, Thor, and the Wasp sneak into the mansion and join in as well, putting an end to Mr. Hyde. The heroes rescue Jarvis, who is barely alive, and Yellow Jacket informs Zemo that the mansion has been compromised. Dr. Druid reaches the mansion and telepathically communicates with Blackout, weakening the Dark Force barrier and slowly shutting it down. Druid confronts Blackout on the roof, but Zemo notices him, planning on gathering his men so they can escape via the hangar deck, and shoots Druid with his paralyzing needle or pistol. Using the device made for him by the Fixer housed within his headband, Baron Zemo re-establishes his control over Blackout and orders that he send all the heroes and the mansion itself into the Dark Dimension. Thankfully, though paralyzed, Dr. Druid is able to contact Blackout mentally and break Zemo's control over him. With all the hard-hitting fighting going on in the mansion's lower levels, the hangar deck's floor crumbles out from under Zemo's flyer, with Yellow Jacket inside. Even if the villains managed to reach it, the wiring had been sabotaged by the Wasp. They wouldn't have escaped. Blackout refuses to obey any more of Zemo's commands as he desperately tries to re-establish control. The psychic strain results in Blackout suffering from a cerebral hemorrhage and seemingly dying. Captain America reaches the roof of the mansion and orders everyone to leave. The fight is between him and Zemo. The Baron tries to get revenge on Cap for destroying his family, with his own shield no less, but Captain America reassures him that his family was destroyed as well. Zemo's father killed his sidekick Bucky, and Helmut himself has newly destroyed the Avengers. Captain America knows what it's like to feel pain. He also tells Zemo that his father Heinrich served the Third Reich of Nazi Germany. He brought destruction on himself, and Helmut has continued his madness. Heinrich Zemo died by his own hands, not because of Captain America, which angers Helmut, who charges at the hero. Captain America dodges him, and Baron Zemo is incapacitated when he falls off the roof of the Avengers Mansion. The Masters of Evil surrender and are taken into police custody. Captain America kneels over his destroyed footlocker in the middle of all the rubble, his artifacts of his past desecrated by Zemo. His loss is insurmountable, feeling he has nothing left, but Captain Marvel comforts him in saying that we must mourn loss in order to heal, salvage what we can from the past in order to rebuild the future. Under Siege is a classic Marvel story, one of the most iconic in terms of the Avengers, and especially one featuring Baron Zemo. I think his motivations here are extremely strong and well explained. His attack on the mansion makes sense, at least from his perspective. In his eyes, his family was destroyed by Captain America, and he will stop at nothing to destroy the Avengers, the family Captain America now holds close to his heart. The lengths in which Zemo goes to break his spirit is barbaric and cruel, striking every chord he possibly can to get to the hero, and many, if not all of them, work. His crafty and manipulative demeanor is also at the forefront. He is a master with words and can influence a large group of people to fight for his cause, which sounds awfully familiar. Throughout the storyline, you probably wondered where all the Marvel heroes were. The Fantastic Four, Black Panther, the West Coast Avengers, what have you. All of them were distracted by Baron Zemo in some way. He planned diversions of all kinds for weeks, months, maybe even years. The countless layers of his scheme were deeply rooted, which made it even more impressive and maniacal in the end. Throughout the storyline, you see how willing he is to throw his allies under the bus if the moment called for it, which he keeps quiet to most of his team, but it still makes many of them, like Moonstone and Yellow Jacket, question his judgment and leadership. And really, Zemo didn't do any of the fighting until the end with Captain America. Up until that point, his Masters of Evil were doing the grunt work, and in many ways were lambs to the slaughter if anything went awry, and of course, it did. Usually in my comic book review videos, I try to find some sort of negative to an otherwise positive storyline, so I can at least have something from both sides to talk about, and not just praise it for the entire duration. Nothing is perfect after all. But here, I don't think I have anything of note to really say. Under Siege is a great story, and its narrative is well-paced, provocative, and even quite dark at times. I could bash a few things just because it's an older story from the 1980s, but I feel that's unfair, and honestly, anything I could come up with would be trivial in the grander scheme of things, and didn't bother me while reading. I nitpick sometimes, which can be fun, but with Under Siege, I don't feel the need to this time. What do you guys think of the Avengers Under Siege storyline? Is there anything you like about it or dislike? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon to be notified of all future content. I will see all of you in the next one. Take care and stay nerdy.